Hi, everybody. Welcome to Toadstool Tarot. We're having something fun and different today. I want to welcome, got the wrong hand out. I'm backwards. No, I'm still doing it.
It's all right. Just I'm next to the great painting that you have on your wall.
Wait a minute. How come both hands point the same? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gerald of Tarotstache, who many of you already know. And if you don't know, go check out his channel. He's on all the time and on many other channels, and he does a million things. And
one of these days, I'm going to get you back on my channel for another conversation. I love the idea of what we're doing today. I think this is really very exciting.
Well, yeah, let me explain to people what I'm doing. I didn't even do my homework. I picked my favorite deck and I haven't sorted it out. So I'm going to be sorting as we...
While you do that, how about I do this? How about I remind everybody to please like and subscribe because it's free. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. Please subscribe. It shows your support. As always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance, really. And I also am glad to see some of the best chatters here. We also have some of the best lurkers, the work lurkers, and the future lurkers. So I love that.
Okay. What I'm doing... All right. Many of you know that I love majors only decks, and I'm up against the wall with other people on this. A lot of people don't like to read with majors only, unless maybe if you're French and you come from a Marseille background.
Mm-hmm.
But I find I can get everything I need from the majors, mm-hmm. and Gerald is notorious for saying reading with majors is like
reading with a sledgehammer when you need you're putting in a thumbtack with a sledgehammer.
Yeah. I don't agree with that, but I'm finding that the longer I read with majors, the more subtleties that I find in there. And I find that when you have the minors in, it's more like the oil on top of the puddle of it's a surface level thing that the easy answers come right to you because they're more specific in their scenes. Whereas if you read with the majors, the scenes have to have so much more depth to them. You have to go deeper to pull out the answers, which I actually like. Now, let's see if I can. I'm not ambidextrous or multitasking, but I'm going to try.
And this is one of those things, Robin. People, I love it when people figure out what works for them, mm-hmm. and do that thing. Be open to other suggestions, but you're always going to hear me encourage people to go, well, if that's the way you do it, then that's the way you do it. And Timmy Raven is here, Sakia Handley, Suzanne Griggs, Jamie, Wandering Mountain Bardic Path, Moom in Tarot, and Timmy says the majors are the archetypes of behavior, in my opinion. I share Robin's attraction to the power of the majors. Oh yeah, love me a good majors, absolutely. Absolutely.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Good there. So what I'm doing today, well, now I'll give you a history background first. I guess I should. Okay, now, if any of you have watched my last few weeks, one of the weeks I was discussing my thoughts about the history of tarot through reading of oh my God, Paul Huson's book, which I can't remember the name of. Go back to my previous live. But he discusses the sort of an academic history of the tarot. And I've also watched a couple of YouTube videos about the history of cards and
Mhm.
card divination. And it seems like, don't take this 100%, but the consensus was that cards came from China and they came west through Turkey, Asia, and the Mamluks were playing cards, and it was gambling, mostly for gambling, gaming
Mhm.
cards, and a lot of them were carried by soldiers because it was easy to carry a deck of cards than, say, a chessboard and all the pieces or other types of games. So soldiers had their downtime between battles, and what they did to entertain themselves was play cards, but mostly it was around gambling. And what we ended up with, I don't know exactly how or when the majors got incorporated in, but it seems like they were related to morality tales reflected with specific historic or mythological figures that
Mhm.
created the major arcana that got combined with the minor arcana. But my sense of it was that really, and I guess it did become a single unified game, but my sense of it was that they don't really belong, that it's two separate games, which is why I think we ended up with the minors becoming playing cards. And
Mhm.
that's why that's very popular in the world today, because more people are into gaming and gambling than they are into, self introspection and interpreting cards and stuff. But
Yes.
when you think about it too, the minors are in ranking order. They go ace through 10, which relates to me the value in armed services and battles of taking land. It's
Mm.
like the higher the rank, the higher the number, the more valuable the cards, so the more land you take. So for
Interesting.
me,
Okay.
the minors kind of relate to this notion of war, which I don't like at all. It's
Mhm.
like I can deal with the morality tales. Like, yeah, tell me behavioral issues, what's right and what's wrong, and blah, blah, blah. I can deal with that by example of their stories or folklore or whatever. But I'm not real keen on this idea of gambling and winning and competition and battles and stuff like that. And then we also have the court cards, and the court cards relate to something that we're not really so much engaged with these days. There are certain countries that do have monarchies and leaders,
Mhm.
but it's if we deal with the RWS, which is arguably the most popular system and set of images, they're sort of like medieval middle age kind of cards, and they depict court cards that are ranks that also go from a lower rank to the highest rank.
Mhm.
In a way, the aces go to the tens, but also it's kind of a hierarchy of empowerment that we don't really deal with on a day-to-day basis so much. It's kind of an outmoded thing.
Mhm.
We want to read cards. Do we want to pull politics into it? Because it's kind of politics, the leaders, the court cards. So
Right.
what I did was I've been pushing this major arcana thing, and Gerald challenged me. He said, well, have you ever read with the minor arcana? And
Mhm.
yes and no. I haven't read actually with the tarot minor arcana, but I have read with playing cards, which are basically the minor arcana.
Sure.
I thought, okay, let's do this thing. And I thought, since, I wanted to do it and I wanted to push this idea, why not do it on my channel rather than on Gerald's? Although we could do it there too.
I think we've got lots of good opportunities here.
So what we're going to do, you guys out there in chat, and I love you all and welcome you all to participate. We're going to do 4 readings. So if you could help us by supplying us with 4 questions, or each of you throw in a question till we have 4, and then we're going to stop there. And what we're going to do is the first reading, we're each going to do a 3-card reading with the majors only. Then we're going to do a 3-card reading with the minors only. And then our third reading is going to be with the court cards only. And our fourth reading is going to be elements only. We are 4 cards to represent the 4 elements. So this should be interesting because the last one's a little bit sketchy. But what we're doing basically is we're kind of dissecting the tarot deck and dividing it into these separate units of
4
which
pieces,
made,
yes.
because the tarot deck that everybody reads with, they already commonly acknowledge majors and minors. Those are 2 parts of the deck. But a lot of people have issues with the court cards. So I'm thinking, well, I've tried it. You can read with just the court cards too. That's almost like another suit or set of, so that's what we're going to do. So do we have any questions?
There was a question about what kind of questions do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And I would prefer it not be a political question.
Mm-hmm.
And no financial or legal or medical questions, but Star in the Lantern Tarot, hello, by the way, can it be about ascension, community? Sure. And Timmy said, this is my second time in the chat room. How shall I assert myself properly?
Oh, I mean, that's your question as opposed to a procedural question, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And also, Timmy said the minors, let's see, I also have been using the number cards as archetypes of circumstance, and the minors are the archetypes of manifestation.
Okay.
That's an interesting thing. And so start Timmy's question. So,
well, I'm also, oh, wait a minute. Where is it?
Under the comments.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, is it, oh, the set where it says my second time? Yeah, I'm not using the star thing, so let's see if that works.
You used it. Congratulations, Robin.
Good, but yeah, I don't know if that means, do I have to scroll back to find it, or is there some way?
No, you just look at the starred question. It's when you see the live,
yeah,
to the right of the live, it has starred and it has a 1 there. Do you see that?
no. Oh, yes, at the top. At the top.
You got it. You got it. So, Star in the Lantern Tarot, please ask a question. Because, there's another interesting possibility for a follow-up show sometime, Robin, is answering the same question using these 4 different things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we could do that today, too, actually. That would be better in a way in terms of showing the example that it can be done. It can be read 4 ways. Maybe that's what we should do. What do you think, Gerald?
Well, we also have another question from Star in the Lantern Tarot, whose name I do not know. This is the first time for me to see people. And Purple Elephant Deb H has arrived.
Hey, Deb. Welcome.
There you go. And Deb, we're looking for a question that we can use, not political, financial, legal.
Well, now, Star in the Lantern's question is a little tricky for me because it pulls in astrology, which I don't generally read for. I mean, I will read what the cards tell me, but I have no knowledge or background about Aquarius or astrology. So I don't know if it's going to read for them the way they are expecting.
Hello, Wendy.
But
Star in the Lantern is Wendy.
I just look at what the cards tell me, so I don't.
That's exactly what I do as well.
Question it is. I mean, it can be any kind. I'll give it my perspective, but okay. And usually, if it's something tricky or touchy or triggering, I'll rephrase the question according to how I think I can handle it.
Of course, yeah. Okay, so we've got 2 questions. And Wendy, are you looking at Aquarius fam as in the ascension into the age of Aquarius? or something else? And we have a question from Purple Elephant Deb H.
Okay.
And Wendy's like, I'm trying not to be. Okay, and so Wendy, Star in the Lantern Tarot, is talking about the ascension process that a lot of people are talking about on some of the WooTube, and how we're moving into the age of Aquarius. And so I think if we look at it from that way, it's not necessarily just like Aquarians.
Okay, that's a really big question. So
I know.
well,
All right. So
also, it sounds like it encompasses a group or kind of like the collective or something.
It is the collective.
And that's a little harder for me to get specific or read about in terms of guiding behavior, but I'll do my best. That's all you can ask of me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How many courts should we have? 16?
16.
I'm missing 2. Hold on.
All right. Well, I'm just going to tell people currently I'm using the Wiser Tarot. I have done a deck casual about this on my channel. So I also have the Aquarian Tarot and the Morgan Greer Tarot ready, depending upon how things go with that. Is everybody having a beverage, a sip?
Okay, I got it now. I'm glad I checked. Oh, and by the way, do you like my shirt? Everybody notice? Oop.
It's a very nice shirt.
Still can't get this oriented right. Yeah, I discovered on Amazon. I just searched for tarot t-shirts, and I found the Fool. And then I showed it to Simon because he's a big fan of the Hermit's Cave, of the Rider-Waite Smith, Pamela Coleman Smith's illustration. So I said, "Oh, look," and he goes, "Oh, I would want the Hermit." I thought, "Oh, well, let me see if they have the Hermit." And I found it, and I thought, "Gee, they have the Fool and the Hermit. I wonder if they have other shirts." So I went searching, and it seems like if you favor a card in the deck and you like her artwork, which some people don't, they seem to have every card in the deck, including my personal significator, which I got, and I'm going to be wearing that later. But for this episode, I'm wearing the Fool because I'm a fool. Okay. So let's go ahead and start. Shall I just do the starred questions here?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first question, well, we got 3 questions.
Go ahead and pick one. That'll work.
So we're going to do this. Wait, are we going to do all of them, or are we going to do all of them read 4 different ways? I mean, one of them read 4 different ways, or all of them read one at a time, each in a different way? Do you know what
let's start with the majors and with Timmy, and then the minors for Star.
Okay.
And
then we'll do the courts for Deb.
We can do the courts for the Debs, and
we need one more question.
Yeah.
So majors, and the question. Oh, I can put it on the screen.
You can click it. Yeah.
What? How shall I assert myself properly? No, I'm not clear if this is specific to the chat room or in general in life. Let's go with in general in life. How shall I assert myself properly?
And we're doing 3 cards. Do you have, when you pull 3 cards, do you have specific meanings for each position? Or you just want to see 3 cards?
I know something else I wanted to say. My reading style is pretty much open reading style, and I picked that up after seeing the movie Tarology, I think it's called, with Enrique Enriquez. And when he reads with Marseille decks, and he uses, when he reads the aces through tens, he reads them sort of as increases and decreases. So that's something that will potentially be part of a miner's reading. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm clear on what I'm trying to say there. But anyway, so yeah, I just lay out 3, and then as I look at them,
Good.
I get an intuitive sense. Is it past, present, future? What is? I tend to read with the center card in 3 as the main energy focus, and what are the surrounding influences or energies. So it's not really in a sequence or an order, but sometimes it is. So let's see with this one. So I'm going to pull my 3 cards, and you can pull yours, and we'll take turns. So this is working with a majors only deck. All right. All right.
Wendy, I subscribe to your channel.
Oh, speaking of subscribe to the channel, I want everybody to know I'm making an announcement. Thank you for all your help. I finally jumped the 2,000 subscribers hurdle. Yay. And I think I spent the last year and a half trying to buck 1,900. I don't know why it took so long to get that last 100 to get me over 2,000, but I don't know. I think initially when you start a channel, you get a little rush of people, and then it's the same people. And unless you're doing what Gerald's doing, like many, many kinds of things and a lot of activity and working with the algorithm of set times and schedules and things, I don't think you continue to keep pulling in new subscribers. But maybe since I'm regularly on Saturday at this time now, maybe it will.
It's always a good thing. Yeah. So this is my second time in this chat room. How shall I assert myself properly?
You want to go ahead?
I am going to go ahead. And the first card that I have, which is the center, which it would be relate to your center, it's the Hierophant. Timmy, follow the appropriate rules. Don't be going way out there. Don't get wackadoodle. Understand that there is a structure on engaging in a chat appropriately. So, and then, but also take an opportunity to learn and find out what keys might be available for you. What are your takeaways? Is the first one. Do you want me to read all 3 of mine, or you want to read your?
No, you can read all 3, but I'm a little bit confused by the question, and maybe that's okay. I'm not sure if we're reading it, if I'm reading it wrong or right. Because it seems like your answer is related specifically. I can't tell if this is a statement and a question that are separate, or if the question depends on the statement. Is it about asserting yourself properly in the chat room, or is it about asserting yourself properly in life or in general? Which is what I thought, but maybe he is being specific to the chat room. And how do we just go with what we feel, or what do you think?
I'm going with in the
chat
in the chat room.
Okay.
But I actually think this, if we want to look at it in life,
yeah,
understand the structures of life and what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, and pay attention to those.
Yeah, maybe it's good to give both answers.
Timmy said, I can clarify in the chat room.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, okay. What are your other?
And then I also have, so as you are understanding the rules and the structures, you get to be the magician, which allows you to use the tools that you have available to you for you to be able to manifest the outcome. Part of what you are wanting to manifest is the Emperor. You want to understand the boundaries of where you can have influence. You like to have a big picture idea. And so as we think about these, what are the rules and the structures? Once you understand those, Timmy, you are able to apply the skills that you have so that you can create this environment that is going to be very successful for you. And if we, yeah, so that's what I have.
Okay. Now, what I have, and you don't have to use the center card thing the way I read it, but you did. That's okay. It may not be the way you operate, but okay. So my center card, it was nice. I mean, I was surprised. It was strength. Now, for me, strength is it's be strong, but be gentle, be caring, persevere. So, in the chat, in terms of perseverance, you may be wanting to say something, wait for the right time to say it. If it feels like the right time, say it. But, don't, general mode in the chat is don't be argumentative with people. State clearly what you want to state without trampling on somebody else. So, be strong in your opinion and in asserting yourself, but also be gentle in the way that you express it. I think that's a really good card for how to behave in the chat. Don't go wild like a lion, and don't pry the jaws open or close of other chatters.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to be proceed in a comforting and supportive manner in chat. That works the best for everybody in terms of educating and supporting us all in the community. If you contribute things that other people can feel lifted up rather than step or pushed down. So that's the center card. On the left, we have the world. And jumping into the chat your second time is like jumping out into the world, going out into community, becoming part of something bigger than yourself. The third card is the hermit, which is going inward. That's, or coming from inward. So it's funny that the outside and the inside, or the outer and the inner aspects of yourself, are the energies that surround this strength card, which I think is fabulous. It's like, welcome to our chat. You've come in, you've got your own ideas, your own thoughts, your own opinions that you've sat quietly with like a hermit, and you're going to express them and share them with us, but be gentle with us, gentle but firm. And that's my reading with those three cards.
And you had the world, which Timmy said if he could get a t-shirt, or Timmy said if they could get a t-shirt, it would be with the world on it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, depending on how you feel about shopping on Amazon, you can Google the wrong word. You can do a search there and find tarot t-shirt the world. I'm sure they've got it.
And Timmy said, thank you, Robin.
And actually, I think these are vendors. You might, if you don't want to deal with Amazon, you probably can go research the vendor and order directly through them rather than through Amazon, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, so there we've given an example of how to answer this question with majors. Let's press on. We're half hour in. The second one we're going to do is the minors. And sorry, I got to keep my piles separate here. The minors, and our second card. Oh, I guess I can unstar him now, right?
Yep.
So second one is from the Star in the Lantern Tarot. What do you see for Aquarius, fam?
You need to click on it so that we can, so it'll pop up on the screen.
Sorry.
That's okay. No worries. So what do we see for the Aquarius? Give me a second.
The only thing I know about Aquarius is it's a water sign, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get water or lack thereof in my spread.
So, Wendy, what I have for you is the card that I have for you using the minor is what, what do we see for uh the for the Aquarius family is it's the 10 of Wands. Guess what? There's a lot of weight and a lot of heavy things and a lot of energy that is currently going on. What is important for this is what you do with that. And this is if you're talking about ascension, as I understand it, there's there's a lot of adjustment, and anytime there is a change, there is always chaos and lack of understanding before there is understanding. So the key thing here then is to help through that. It's the 8 of Swords, and the 8 of Swords reminds us of the importance of what is ours, what is yours, and also to not seeing blocks where they don't exist. Make sure you are holding yourself accountable for what's actually real and what's not real. Because then from there, I also got the four of Swords, and the importance of taking taking care of your mental health, making sure you're getting enough rest. Because when this happens, there's a lot of overthinking, but it's not quite as bad as in the 9. But this is seeing blocks that aren't really there. So this energy, this huge amount of energy, then it's like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, get your mind on something else for a while to see how that helps and how that interacts with it. So that's what I have for you, Wendy. What do you got, Robin?
Okay. Now, let's see. What do I see for Aquarius fam? Well, the only card I got that has water in it is my center card where the focus of energy seems to be, and that's the 5 of Swords. Now, swords are knowledge and communication, and the water element in this card seems to be in the background, and there seems to be conflict here. Boy, are we in a time or a period of conflict and confusion when it comes to communication. Are we putting that water element, which is emotions, are we putting that behind us on the back burner, so to speak? And are we just like battling each other currently? This is something that we might need to take into account during this Aquarius time, and keep things in proper perspective, that this is something that the energy is surrounding us with this right now. Now, I have more supportive cards to that. So I think these are in order to balance or counteract those kind of heavy combative feelings. We've got the 3 of Cups, and that's emotional, and cups will bear water, Aquarius. And so this is a finding a way in community or like-minded individuals to help raise each other up. Now, we're talking in terms of conflict about politics, and I know we didn't want to go into politics, but there are national protests everywhere currently, and a lot of people are coming out in increasing numbers supporting each other during these protests. So regardless of how you feel about the politics of it, when people gather together in support of one another, that's usually an encouraging, strong thing. So I think that, well, that's one side of energy. The other side is the 7 of Pentacles, and that's sort of establishing, growing, nurturing the growth of something that is of material value or of worth in terms of, well, I guess I'm saying the center card here is sort of like this feeling, this big feeling of combativeness and confusion and destruction stuff. But on the other sides, we've got this really supporting growth kind of thing. It's like the Three of Cups coming together in support, the Seven of Pentacles trying to nurture the garden to make things grow, not to like, you're not burning down your farm fields. You're trying to make things grow in readiment for harvesting. So, and I think isn't the Aquarian time having to do with good changes coming so that we can evolve into the next good, prosperous era or something? The age of Aquarius and all that. I thought it was supposed to be like sort of going into the golden era or something. So I think maybe what this means is by supporting each other and nurturing this growth and support, that this will be a good thing and a way of combating this current kind of turmoil and tumultuous and seeming unfairness times that we're in at the moment. And it's already happened. This year, I decided, or these 4 years, I decided to disengage myself from media. So it's like, it doesn't mean I never watch the news, but I will limit my watching the news to maybe 2 minutes or 5 minutes a day. I get the headlines and I don't linger. And boy, I feel so much more mentally and emotionally healthy since I've been doing that, because it was so stressful. It was really trying on me before. And I thought, I can't do this another 4 years. I'll be in a rubber room in a straitjacket. So I have to protect myself, and that's how I'm doing it. So I think these cards are kind of saying, yeah, you know, you can gather that support from like-minded people and your community that feels similarly to you. You know, if they need another person or a shoulder to lean on or someone to talk to, be there for them, you know, and if they have issues they're going through there, help them to nurture their garden and grow, help them to get, you know, weed out the weeds and grow the good crops, you know. So sorry, you know, Gerald, I used to do readings. It would take me 15 to 30 seconds to do a reading, but the longer I do tarot, the longer my readings seem to get.
And back when you finished the question, Wendy said, yes, I think that's spot on. Thank you. So you were reading, your reading for Wendy was very helpful.
Okay. So we're done with this one, I guess. I have to push on ahead. So let me see.
Hi, Trinity Rain and Moon Empath.
And now we've got Deb. What is a good way to raise vibrations? This will be interesting because we're doing court cards this time. So I did meet your challenge. I think I read with just the minors, although I don't know, you might have said, well, you didn't read with a full deck because you didn't have the courts in there, but you know.
No, I didn't say that. There is a question that Saskia has a little bit later. It's almost toward the end. It's at 33 after.
Oh, let me see if I can find it and then star it.
It's above me. Such an interesting question.
Can we ask?
Yep. If you star that one.
Okay. Let me go back to my starred. Okay.
You got it.
So for the court cards, we're going to ask Deb's question. What's a good way to raise vibrations? Now, this gets a little trickier as we go along because we went from 22 cards to, is it 54 or 56? Or I can't remember how many minors there are. And then we're going from that large number down to 16. And then the next one, we're going all the way down to 4 cards.
So, Purple Elephant Deb H, thank you for this question. What is a good way to raise vibrations? A good way to raise vibrations is the Knight of Cups, which is uh, Knights are on a quest, so to speak. Also about looking at your emotions. A good way to raise vibrations is to actually do something with the emotions and your intuition and healing. Note that this night, when we look at it, it's not in full gallop. It's actually taking a single step to understand the emotions that are involved. Because from here, what we have is we have the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is going to help us learn to take some different action, or to take action that is based upon information from the emotions. And I also think, the last card here is the Queen of Cups. So we raise vibrations by actually honoring them and nurturing them. Queens are very nurturing. And I also am, she's also, if you look, her feet are on the ground, yet she's surrounded by water. So we have to stay grounded while we are dealing with all of these emotions. I think that's a really interesting point. So very interesting point, because we have a knight, we have a page, and we have a queen. So we need people to take action based upon emotions, doing different actions, doing things differently, and to honor the feelings that individuals have themselves as well as others, and make it okay for those emotions to exist whilst staying grounded. Emotion and intuition, learn from emotions, honor and nurture the feelings. It makes perfect sense, Deb says.
Okay. Well, it's funny. I mean, it's not that funny because that we're going to get the same cards, because we have so few in the deck here. But it's very interesting. And I wasn't sure how I was going to answer this question. But for me, the center of this one is the King of Pentacles. And you talk about raising vibrations. Who's better to raise them than the top of the hierarchy? You at your highest, the king, and also from a position of groundedness. It's like, or maybe your emotion, your vibrations may be like grounded and based in material, what what you're used to, what's established, what's keeping your feet on the ground. It's when you're grounded, that seems very different from vibration raising. And so this is the place you're coming from, this sort of seat of comfort, and like maybe thinking about wanting to do it, but not getting there yet. Now, the energy it's surrounded by, I have 2 Knights cards. So that's take action, lots of action. And on one side, on the back side, both of them are riding horses and facing out, which is interesting, because usually if I read it past, present, future, I go with the direction, but I'm not reading this way. This feels almost like an unfolding outwards, the way energy vibrations do. You cast a pebble in a pond and it vibrates out. So that's the way I'm looking at this from that center card. And the first position is the Knight of Swords. Now, for me, that's going from this position of staidness and what I'm missing my words, but I'd say grounded again, stability or something, to thinking and communicating more about it. Take a more active role in thinking and communicating in order to help raise vibrations. The second is moving a little slower, but it's the Knight of Pentacles. So it's interesting. We've got a fast moving and a slow moving, but both methods will help you raise your vibrations. I guess it depends on the person, or how what level their vibrations are, or what method works for them. And And by doing that, you're taking the idea of what you thought was your vibrations or your lower grounded vibrations, and you're carrying it with you moving forward.
Yeah.
So I think that's sort of it's aided by that idea of the swords being thought and communication in order to help you carry it forward.
Yeah. Deb said, the King of Pentacles is perfect for this question. Vibrations emanate outward. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say I like the King of Pentacles as your key one, because the King of Pentacles is going to make decisions based upon the long-term impact and not the immediate impact. So I think this is one of those things that there's then the King of Pentacles definitely would be make those tough decisions now based upon the lasting impact.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Joanne.
Okay. Thank you, Deb, for your question.
Mm.
And now we're going to the final question. And what I've done here, we're going to do the elements, but what I've suggested, it could be any card for each element or each suit, but I suggested that we pull the aces, because for me, the aces are the sort of projective embodiment of the element or the suit. And they also are not that visually descriptive in terms of action or activity. And so when we're dealing with an element, it's more the nature of the element than anything, I think. But we'll see what happens. It's also very tricky, this one, because we've only got 4 cards and we're pulling 3 for our spread. So we'll see how that 4th card impacts things. Now, I don't know how you're going to go about shuffling 4 cards, but do your best.
Yeah, I got it. So, and I'm only going to say, okay, I'm only pulling 1 card. And what I have is how does the tarot feel about reading with or without the major arcana? It's the Ace of Wands, because actually I would say the tarot likes it because it forces us to build new energy and new relationships. This says, be inspired. Be inspired, because with this wand, suddenly you can do a lot of things with that wand, and the minors and the majors and the court cards. This feels very much like, I mean, heck, it's a wand. So suddenly it's saying, well, what do you want to do with it? And it feels, and this feels very energetic to me. There's a nice vibration about it. So
yeah.
What do you think, Robin?
All right, I'm doing all 4. So
Okay.
My center energy card, how appropriate, the swords. This is a new way of thinking and talking about the tarot by doing it this way. You know, it's all thought and communication. I mean, that's the central energy around approaching the cards in this manner.
Mm-hmm.
On the left, we've got the Ace of Pentacles. It pulls us or invites us to step out of what we're used to, what we're grounded in, and go down a new path to trying something a little bit different.
Yep.
And then also, we might not feel that comfortable about doing this. So it's the Ace of Cups. We're having to deal with our emotions as we try something new.
Mm-hmm.
And the last card, which is not one of the 3, is the bottom of the deck, shall we say, if we have a 4-card deck, is the Ace of Wands. And that's sort of the for me, kind of the ultimate goal or the outcome of the thing is grab hold of this creative energy, create new passion in approaching the tarot, and try different things on how you embrace the tarot. Pull it apart, put it together, find other ways to read. I mean, we might think of other things. What can we do in the future? We can do it by numbers. We can do it by colors. We can do by gender. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, we could make a whole list of which cards can we put into their own decks to read the tarot from, and what does somebody else suggested to me not long ago a reading that I love that I never used until recently, and now I like it. If you have a significator, or you have a card specific to a question, and a card in the deck reminds you of that, shuffle the whole deck and then leaf down till you find that card and make that your center energy card, and see what card comes before it and after it, and read those 3 cards to see what energy surrounds that. Maybe a lot of you have already known about that spread, but it's fun. So try it.
A lot of fun.
So we're at 1:52, and I need to wrap this up a little early. Sorry, but I want to thank you, Gerald, for doing this. I think it was a lot of fun, and I opened up some new vistas for people. So
yeah, it's great. I always like the opportunity to find out more about how I read tarot and how I can grow and evolve. So.
Well, and I'm going to say something else. Way back, I went to a store, Tarot and Story, Truth and Story.
Yeah, Kelly Fitzgerald.
The
Truth and Story.
The Truth and Story. And I asked her, I was so tightly strung and wound up in the, how to do tarot properly. And I said, I used to have these rituals and these ideas of how long to shuffle until a card jumped out, or how did I know when it was time to stop shuffling and that I had the right cards, or maybe I had doubts I hadn't shuffled enough or whatever. And I felt a lot of insecurity about my tarot reading. And she said something so wise, till this day I stand by it. She goes, every card in the deck has something to say about your particular question or query. And I think that's really true. It's not really the card so much as how you read the card or interpret the card, what symbols, what things you pull out of it that apply to the reading. In a sense, you could open up a factory bought deck and not shuffle at all and still read. And there's another thing that's fun to do. When you shuffle your deck, try one day sitting down and doing a reading with every card in the deck. It's easier to do with the majors, but go through one and see how it applies, and then keep pulling the cards one by one. If you've not tried that, it could take you hours, but it's a fun adventure.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Robin. And everybody should subscribe to your channel, because you're pretty regularly on at 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And
I can relax now. Now that I've hit 2,000, I'm not pushing for 3,000. I'll be happy when it gets here, but I don't, I just really wanted to bump that 1,950.
That's wonderful. So
thank you, and see you all soon, everybody. Thanks for coming today. See you next.
Bye.